to all my Keurig addicted friends. I just wanted to let you guys know that the Keurig Hot K425C does have the ability to be adapted to the self-filling feature that everybody's been posting, you know, for the older Keurig models. Now, I've had two of the older units, and you know, they all have flaws, but for the most part they work pretty good. And if you get your K-Cups on sale, you know, you can save some money. It's not going to be as cheap as doing the old percolator or the Mr. Coffee, but then again, you know, this is the modern age. We have to spend more money for the stuff we like. Anyway, one of the big problems I had with the new K425C was that it did not have a magnetic float. So I would go up to make a cup of coffee and it'd be like 4 or 5 inches of water in the thing. I pushed a button that says add water. I mean, the worst thing in the world is you want a cup of coffee, you put the thing in, you push the button and it says add water. Now, I called up Keurig and I complained and I said, you know, this new model, it may have some great new features, but it seems like it takes longer to brew, and it also has this issue with the water thing. And she said, well, maybe your water's too clear, too whatever. It didn't make any difference. It's not going to be something they can fix. So my ultimate goal was to have some way of not having to ever worry about putting water in a Keurig again. Now, I've installed some of the commercial units at companies I worked for in the past, and they're great. You know, you just do the shark fittings and you plug the little PVC pipe into a filtered water source, and you never have to mess with it again. You know, you push the buttons, you flip some switches, you plug some things in, and it just sits there and takes water all day long. You never have to add water. So I said, well, let me see if there's some way of doing the same thing with the my Keurig. So I went online, and lo and behold, there's tons and tons and tons of people saying, hey, we can do this, it's real easy. You know, one guy went ahead and did a bunch of electronic stuff, electronic valves and other things like that. And then somebody posted this link that says, hey, just go buy this little kit and everything works okay. The problem is the kit's designed to be installed on the top lid, which are flat on the older versions. Well, guess what? You know, in their infinite design wisdom, the designer said, let's make it round. Let's make it no flat surfaces at all. Nothing. There's not one flat surface on this thing. So how do we go about installing this float valve and hook it up to a permanent water supply? Well, I sat around for a while and I got the kit and I'm looking at my unit and I'm saying, well, what can I do? There's got to be some way to do this. So anyway, make a long story short, I played around with it for a little while and looked at it. And let me just pull my unit out here so I can show you. Sorry, I should have been prepared for this, but I'm not. Anyway, it's in the light. Now, if you notice here, the surface is rounded. There's no flat. Typically they mount it on here. They drill a hole down here and they mount something. So what I did was I said, well, maybe I can do something a little different. Now you notice the light's blue and everything. It's really nice. You look around the side, and lo and behold, you can see, which is hard to do, there's a float in there, and there's a plastic coming out the back. There's a shut-off valve just in case of emergencies, and I also made a little line on there so I could tell whether or not the float valve was leaking. But let me just show you what I did. Now, I'm not going to explain how everything I did, but you're going to have to use your own ingenuity. But if you look in here, he's like, oh my goodness, it's inside. So what did he do? He made a little bracket, went to Home Depot, bought some flat aluminum, bent it, drilled some holes in there, 2 for the screws here, and 1 for the main float device there. And now one of the issues you have to do with is to get like flathead screws, which basically mount screw this flat to the surface. So you have to sort of countersink these holes over here. Now this is removable. This still can come out. But over here on this edge, you drill 2 holes to match the holes in your bracket, and you just countersink them. If you don't have a countersink tool, we'll just take a larger drill bit and just kind of turn it. And eventually it'll create sort of a conical shape that you can stick the screw in and be flat. That way that this unit can sit back where it's supposed to go. So I didn't want to have anything on the top. I didn't want the top to float up or anything, because this float's going to push some pressure. It's going to be pushing up. So I said, I'm going to mount this. And then I drilled a hole in the back here. And it's hard to see, but there's a hole in the back of my little reservoir, which is above the water line, which has the right angle connector going out, and it goes out to my water line, which then goes under my sink. And the hardest part was routing underneath my dishwasher over to my PVC pipe on my my house has PVC pipe. So I bought a saddle valve, which I've used in the past for hooking up the copper pipe. But I said, well, let me try it. So I tried it, and it seemed to work pretty good. It's not leaking, which is the most important thing, and it does fill up my unit. But so all you guys out there who said, well, you know, I have the new Keurig unit, there's no flat spots and everything like that, and how can I go about installing, you know, a float in there? Well, you can. You just have to do it like I did. You know, go to Home Depot or some other place, get you a little piece of flat, you know, aluminum stock. It's not that expensive. Get it in various lengths. You only need a little bit. Then I took it and put it in my vise and I bent it such that it was the size it would fit in here. And I screwed it down. And let me tell you something. I mean, this thing is the greatest. I mean, I haven't had to put water in since I installed it, obviously, because it's filling itself up with water automatically. But I mean, it takes away one of the biggest gripes I had with the new Keurig, was the fact that you could walk up to the machine and with the blue light special not flashing, push the button and the little screen says, oh, add water. Okay, well, if you knew before I pushed the button I needed to add water, tell me then. Don't stop me in the middle of my quick process. You take the spontaneity out of the Keurig system. So anyway, just to let you know, guys, it can be done, and everything goes back on like it's supposed to be. You won't even notice it except for the thing at the back, and of course, you know, if you look inside, you'll see float in there. But it works very, very good. No problems with it. Haven't leaked so far. Like I said, I did put a little black line on the front and on the side. Initially it was a sticky note with a black line. I said that's kind of tacky, so I just took my Sharpie, made a little black line on where the water level should be. Now the water level goes up or down based on pressure, but it's not more than about, you know, a few you know, millimeters or so if you're in the metric system. Okay guys, anyway, have fun. If you have any questions, just give me a buzz or whatever. Okay, bye bye.